In the world of data analysis and machine learning, there's this invisible threat, something that can quietly corrupt your entire project, right from the inside out. And no, it's not some super complex algorithm or a sneaky bug in your code. It's actually something much, much more fundamental.
So let me just ask you this. What do you think is the single biggest threat to the integrity of your analysis? What's the one thing most likely to send you spinning down the completely wrong path?
Well, the answer is surprisingly simple. It's the empty spaces, the gaps, the silences in your dataset. Today, we're going to go on a hunt for this hidden culprit, missing data.
Okay, first things first, we really need to understand the stakes here. Why is this such a massive deal? Because when data goes missing, it doesn't just leave a hole, it actively sabotages all of your hard work.
The dangers are pretty serious, and they're all kind of connected. For starters, missing data directly hurts your model's performance, making its predictions way less accurate and reliable. Then, it can introduce this subtle but really powerful bias, which can lead your whole analysis to some seriously skewed and misleading conclusions. And, if you just delete the rows with missing data, you're shrinking your sample size, which just weakens your statistical power. And finally, a lot of powerful analysis tools they can't run with incomplete data. They'll stop you in your tracks before you even get started.
So, just like any good detective, our very first step is to find the evidence. We need to learn how to spot these gaps in our data before we can even begin to think about how to fix them.
These are basically the fingerprints left behind by our saboteur. You'll see them all the time as just simple blank cells, especially in spreadsheets. But you've also got to look out for common placeholders, like NA for not available, or non, which means not a number. Sometimes, you'll even see developers use some random arbitrary number, like -999, or even explicit flags like the word missing to mark these gaps.
And here you go. This is what it looks like out in the wild. You can see those NaN values just scattered across different columns. See how they break the pattern? That's the signal that something's missing. This right here is the evidence we're looking for.
Spotting the gaps, that's one thing. But to really solve this case, we have to understand the motive. We've got to ask ourselves, why is the data missing in the first place?
The reasons can be all over the place. It could be a simple technical issue, right? Like a temperature sensor that failed during a power outage. Or it could be human factors. Anything from a simple data entry typo to a totally legitimate privacy concern, where someone just chooses not to share sensitive information. It can happen during data processing, like when you're trying to merge two data sets that don't quite line up. And sometimes it's just plain inapplicability. A field like pregnancy status just doesn't make sense for a male respondent.
And this brings us to the most critical part of our investigation, because understanding the motive helps us categorize the type of missingness. And this, right here, is the key that unlocks the right solution.
All right, the first and simplest type is called missing completely at random, or MCAR for short. Honestly, this is the best case scenario. It means the reason a value is missing has absolutely zero connection to any other data in your dataset. Think of it like a totally random technical glitch.
To make this super clear, just imagine you got a letter in the mail, but some of the words are unreadable. With MCR, it's like a few random raindrops fell on the page while it was being delivered. The smudges are completely random and have nothing at all to do with the words that were actually written.
Next up, we have missing at random, or MAR. Now, I gotta warn you, this name is a little misleading. The missingness isn't truly random. Instead, it's related to another variable that you can actually see in your data. So, for example, maybe younger people are just more likely to skip a certain survey question. The missingness is tied to their age, which not the answer they would have given.
Let's go back to our letter. For MAR, imagine the ink only smudged on the parts of the paper that were glossy. The missingness is systematically linked to the paper type. That's an observable variable, but it's not linked to the specific words that were written there. See the difference?
And finally, we get to the most problematic type, missing not at random, or MNAR. This is the tricky one. This is when the reason data is missing is directly related to the value that is missing. For instance, people with very high incomes might be way less likely to tell you their salary. The value itself is the reason for its own absence.
In our letter analogy, this is the most sinister case. It's as if the writer took a big black marker and deliberately redacted certain secrets. The words are missing precisely because of what they said. And this is the hardest type to handle, because it's introducing a definite bias.
So, after all of this detective work, spotting the clues, understanding the motive, categorizing the type of missingness,
What's the payoff? Why should we go through all this trouble?
Well, the reward is huge. By using the right techniques for the job, whether that's strategically deleting some rows or using sophisticated methods like imputation to fill in the gaps, you directly improve your model's accuracy. You actively prevent the kind of bias that leads to disastrously wrong conclusions. You hold on to your statistical power. And all of this, it leads to one ultimate goal.
Better decision-making. At the end of the day, that's what this is all about, isn't it? A clean, complete data set is the absolute foundation for insights you can actually trust and for decisions you can truly stand behind.
So I'll just leave you with this thought. Every single dataset tells a story. But sometimes the most important parts might be in the words that aren't even there. The real question is, are you listening for the silences?